National Anthem and the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. The colors are being presented by the West Allegheny High School, United States Marine Corps Junior ROTC, under the command of Cadet Staff Sergeant Mike May.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, and welcome to West Allegheny High School Graduation 2002. On behalf of the West Allegheny Board of School Directors, the administration, the faculty, and the staff, I extend to you graduates congratulations and best wishes. Once again, we have a class that has truly distinguished itself both within and outside the classroom. Among these young people, 84% will be attending college or business or technical schools. 53% plan to go to four-year colleges, 21% to two-year programs, and 9% to business or technical schools. Additionally, 4% will be joining the military, while 10% will be entering the workforce. At this point, 3% are still undecided. Graduates, tonight marks a period of transition and change for each of you. In the face of adversity and unusual challenges, you have achieved an important step on your path to the future. With regard to the future, you have often heard it be said that you are to follow your dreams. But how do you do this? First, you need to know the difference between your passions and your areas of concern. While you can, and indeed should, have many areas of concern, there are those talents, skills, and abilities that uniquely qualify you to follow your passion. Emerson said that nature arms each person with some faculty which allows that person to do easily some feat impossible to any other. Second step is to maintain an attitude that nothing is impossible. While sometimes your dreams may seem improbable, they're not impossible. Just means maybe you have to work just a little bit harder. One of the greatest pleasures in life is to do what others say you cannot do. The third step has to do with your comfort zone. The comfort zone is that area where you feel confident in what you say and in what you do. To expand your comfort zone, you're going to have to say "I can" in place of "I can't," or at least say "I'll try." Being uncomfortable is part of the path to achievement. Dorothea Brand said, "Act as if it were impossible to fail." Next step is to keep track of your successes. Success builds on success, so keep a list of both the spontaneous and the planned achievements, and refer to this list often. It will serve as a reminder and a testament to you of both your ability and your willingness to achieve your goals. And finally, stay away from the trolls. Trolls are those people who, through words or actions, they're going to try to put you down. They're going to try to discourage you. Some people want you to fail because when you succeed, it only reminds them of how far they are from realizing their dreams. But as you plan for your future, please learn to live in the present. There's an adage that says, wherever you are, be there. So take positive advantage of those opportunities and events that you will be experiencing. Graduates, no one knows where life is going to take you. No one knows what the meaning of life is going to be for you. But for those of you who are willing to believe in your dreams and to believe in yourself, life is a precious gift where anything is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. Thank you.
Dr. Huey, Mr. Fazekas, members of the school board, Mr. Moran, teachers and administrators, family and guests of the 2002 graduates of West Allegheny, and my classmates. We, the graduating class of 2002, stand here today poised on the bridge between the memories of yesterday and the dreams of tomorrow. It is a time to celebrate, contemplate, and remember the events that have led us here. It is a time to thank our family and friends for their love and support, and a time to thank our teachers and administrators for their guidance. Our journey is not finished. No. Now we must look towards the future and ask ourselves, how can I accomplish my dream? Growing up, all of us had a dream, an image of how we envisioned ourselves becoming. Some of us dreamed of becoming ballerinas and princesses. Others sought to be astronauts and firefighters. It was our own personal special goal, our secret desire that no one could take away from us. Think back and remember, what was your dream? While some of us continue to pursue the same childhood dream, others have changed their aspirations and turned towards different goals. These ambitions may seem realistic or, for the moment, out of reach. What is important to remember is that every dream is possible with a lot of hard work and determination. Hold on to your dreams. Every celebrated person in history was once the creator of an impossible dream. Thomas Edison, Benjamin Franklin, Neil Armstrong, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Where would our society be today without dreamers and their dreams? And yet, many times, life-changing events can alter the course of our dreams. It is impossible to look back on the past year and not recall the tragic events of September 11th. This date is an historical event as infamous as Pearl Harbor. It has changed us all. It has changed the way we do business, the way we travel, and the way we view the world. We are the first class to graduate while our nation is engaged in a war to end terrorism. For all our sakes, let us hope that this dream is realized soon. What did we learn from the events of September 11th? September 11th taught us about heroism. Over and over again, we were told of rescue workers risking their own lives for others. These were ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Americans put aside their differences and came together as a unified front against this faceless enemy. We began to display the patriotism upon which our country was founded. The tragic events of September 11th did not bring our country to its knees, but rather enabled us to stand as one. Now we share the common dream of a world without terrorism. Impossible dreams are realized every day. Many of these goals were accomplished right here during our last 4 years at West Allegheny Senior High School. Some of us sang in the award-winning chorus or marched across the field in the band. Others took their bows at the end of West Allegheny's production of The Wiz. Our artists displayed their creations at the recent art fair. We have runners, swimmers, batters, and dribblers. Some of us enjoyed the satisfaction of making the honor roll or acing a test in a difficult subject. Some of us learned how to style hair or fix car engines. Still others are proud to wear their state championship football rings. We have achieved great things as a class and as individuals, and we will never forget our high school years here at West Allegheny. Harry Emerson Fosdick once said, "The world is moving so fast these days that the man who says it can't be done is generally interrupted by someone doing it." We must not stop growing and achieving. Do not doubt your capabilities, and do not doubt your peers. Somebody sat next to John F. Kennedy, Charles Lindbergh, and Steven Spielberg at their graduation. Look at the person sitting next to you. He or she could be the person who discovers a cure for cancer or becomes the President of the United States. I hope the graduating class of 2002 experiences only good things in the years ahead. Unfortunately, chances are there will be tragedies and challenges in our future. Learn from these setbacks and become stronger, but do not be defeated. As you strive towards your goals, remember, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Good luck to my classmates. Thank you.
Again, what a beautiful, most rounding opportunity for a valedictorian to speak from her heart and speak well from a message that obviously had taken such great time and patience. But I can say from my experience, I have never been at a high school graduation or a college graduation where a valedictorian did not have to read her message, that she knew it that well. What a wonderful display of beauty. Members of the class of 2002, members of the board of school directors, parents, faculty, friends, my responsibility this evening is to bestow on behalf of the board of school directors diplomas on the individuals from the class of 2002. But to simply make that proclamation would be quite an unfair task because, as you've already seen, this class is an exceptional class. As I stated to them this morning, there are many in our school district who believe that the class of 2002 may be one of the finest in the last 10 years, if not the last 20 years. There are many reasons why people feel so strongly about the success of the individuals who sit before you this evening. They've been described in many ways. They've been described as artistic, goal-oriented, athletic, but most importantly, most people would describe them as leaders and individuals who are so multi-talented. We have had many classes that have had higher academic achievement as a group. We have had other classes that have had greater success in the fine arts or in athletics. But we have never had a group of young men and women who have been so successful in all those areas. Where will you find a class that you will have a quarterback who is nationally known, and at the same time having a jazz musician who is recognized by international musicians with respect for his abilities? Where will you find a young lady who was named Student of the Year last year with a 4.0 average and wants to be a Master Mason? Where will you find a young man who is succeeding up to Ivy League college status for next year at Princeton? But if you read the sports pages this past fall, there are many sports writers who encouraged the Steelers to sign him because he was a better field goal kicker than the one they had. Such diversity and talent of academics, fine arts, and athleticism. Mr. Fazekas went over a number of the successes that this class has had in the classroom. But many of you may not know that they won awards at the elementary from the Pennsylvania Department of Education for having some of the highest scores in the state. And at the middle school, their scores were one of the reasons why the middle school was named the top middle school in the state. And at the high school just this past year, again, they won awards for academic excellence. But again, that alone does not show the true picture of this class. As Jessica said, if you went to the Findlay Township Recreation Center and saw the downstairs just full of the most wondrous art that you may see, and with awards that they gained from local, county, and state recognition, you would be so proud. But if you also saw our chorus and the recognition that they have gained in local, state, and county, and just recently last month, interstate, so proud. And when you see our band who worked so hard with two outstanding tandem drum majors who were able to bring our band together in the Friday night as a community event for football, and it's Saturday, worked so hard in competition to give opportunities for scholarships and music to those who wanted to pursue it. So much work went into the fine arts, and the product and the success is self-evident. But again, not just academics, not just fine arts, but also athleticism. Again, as Jessica has mentioned, we will always remember the success that the leadership of this class brought to our football team as state champions. We are so appreciative for the recognition that this honor, this success has been brought to our school district, and many of the seniors here brought the leadership to make that a success. But just as appreciative as we are to our football team, we must not lose the sight that we have also had state competitors in swimming, in track, and also cross country from this class. But also they have succeeded in post work with competition and post competitions with everything from girls tennis to hockey to girls softball to bowling. But also don't take away from the leadership and athleticism of our basketball, wrestling, and also our soccer teams. But I want to take a minute because I also want to recognize a very important group, and that was the leadership of our cheerleaders in this class. Because if we did not have strong leadership from that cheerleading group, our cheerleaders would have fallen apart this year. But instead, look at the success that all of our teams have had and the support that was behind them and the cheerleaders who brought that to be. And where do we see it better than those who attended this state football championship game, where the team won? But on top of that, the football team, as well as the cheerleaders, as well as the band who played their hearts out, all came together after the game was over and in the stands with all the fans, and they all sang the alma mater together. That's the leadership of this class. That's the leadership that brings you academics and fine arts and their athleticism. That leadership. But that may not surprise you, because it didn't surprise me, because as superintendent of schools, I don't believe that was their finest hour. For me, the finest hour in displaying the leadership of this class occurred as the example that Jessica mentioned earlier, September 11th. I still remember sitting in a meeting with the Allegheny County Emergency League and the superintendents from Allegheny County. Many of the superintendents were talking about how difficult it was to get their students back into school because they were frightened, and they should be. It was a terrifying time for all of us because we didn't know what was coming. But in listening to those superintendents talking about how frightened they were because their students didn't want to come back to school because they didn't know if a building was going to blow up, if their parents were going to go to Pittsburgh and their offices were going to blow up, they were frightened. And because of it, they stayed home. I'm sitting at the meeting thinking about our senior class leading leadership with all the other students as they're having fundraisers for the workers in New York. We're having fund drives for blood for those victims. We have young men who are out painting murals throughout the community, such as the ones down on San Diego Road, building patriotism in our community. They weren't afraid. None of them were afraid. Our choral group was out singing to groups, building up our patriotic spirit at the time we needed it the most. They weren't afraid. Our band was down at the elementary school and other places playing. We were all coming together, and the seniors of this group were bringing the rest of the students together to help us get through that tough time. And where was it more evident than at the West Jefferson football game when the football team was on the sidelines? The band was in the middle, the chorus was in the front, the students were in the stands, and the flag, and being able to come together as a unified group. But that wasn't enough. We had a patriotic rally where we recognized not only our veterans, but our police, our fire, and EMS. Those events may have happened anyways, but they were a happening because the leadership of this class brought their students together to make it even greater than it was. That's the leadership of this group. That is the success, that is the legacy that this group brings to West Allegheny and makes them so special. But this was not a surprise, because this is a very special group of young men and women. There are many examples that I could give you to give you an illustration of the quality of character of this group. And I apologize to you seniors for only being able to give you a few, because Mr. Moran reminds me over and over again, because I get caught up in so many examples. But just to give you an illustration or a clarification of some of the people and the quality of the individuals who sit in front of you, let me give you a couple examples. We have a young man who's an Eagle Scout, and because of his work ethic and being an Eagle Scout, he's already earned 15 credits towards college degree. There is a young lady in front of you who has had a horrendous life, many times homeless. But through strength and character, she has overcome it. She's graduating to honors tonight, and she's pursuing a career where she can help others because she knows what her life was like. There is a young man who has every reason to feel bitter about life because he has spent much of his life in a wheelchair. Is he bitter? No. He is as fine, he is as uplifting a young man as you will find, and after tonight he's going to pursue studies in special education so he can help others who are less fortunate. There is an individual whose mother died while he was in high school, and he's dedicating his diploma to her tonight. There is a young man in this class who had multiple deaths in his family. He pretty well raised himself. On top of that, no one in his family has ever graduated from high school. Well, he's going to graduate tonight. He's going to start selling real estate in his business, but I'll tell you, I'll put my money on his future for the courage and character he has. We also have, to give you another idea of the diversity of this group, we have a young lady who scored 1,000 points in basketball, but she's going to pursue a scholarship in softball in college. We have a young man who is also a quarterback, but he and 3 other people you may not know, to this day, serve their church and their God as altar boys. There is a young lady who very early this year almost died of a disease. Many of us thought she would. But only through her faith and strength and her family's devotion to her was she able to come through this, and she was able to get healthier, and she's going on to college after tonight. There is a young lady in this class who was in a tragic automobile accident where one of her best friends died. And we know in life that it isn't always money, it isn't always education that is the determiner of whether we're going to be successful or not. It's how we overcome the unfair tragedies that happen in our life. Well, this young lady overcame it, and she's a model to all of us about what we should be about when tragedy hits. There's another young lady who was also in an accident where the other person in the other car was badly injured and they didn't think he would live. This lady called practically every day, nurtured him, helped him in any way to help him back to health. There is a young lady here who was one of 4 students in the past 20 years who represented our school district in state competitions in choral in Philadelphia. And to show the diversity, she's going to study forensic law at Duquesne. There's a young lady who was so disappointed that she was able to only gain 3rd place in the state swimming championships at Penn State. But she made sure that she got the time she needed in order to qualify for a scholarship at Virginia Tech to help her parents defray much of the tuition costs. There is a young man who also wanted to do the same thing for his family, and he knew he could do it through basketball, and he gave up football that he loves in order to concentrate on basketball. And he immediately got hurt, and on top of that, his father had back surgery, devastating to him. But he overcame those and ended up the end of the season playing basketball to the point where he was invited to the Round Ball Classic and got his basketball scholarship at Clarion. Do you realize we have a female hockey player who is going to be a nurse after tonight? Diversity. What a class. We have 3 young ladies who served as missionaries out of the country. and 2 of them are going to study the ministry after this, and the third one had the top senior project in the class. We have a young man who was told, "You'll never sing. You sing as terrible as can be. Please don't sing again." But he loved it so much that he didn't listen to his elementary teacher. And because of that, last month he won a statewide award as a soloist. We also have 2 groups of professional rock band professionals who have cut records and have every reason to believe that they were going to be highly successful after tonight. We have a young man who worked so hard at his father's business and other businesses that because of that work ethic, it transcended into being named as an all-state football player. We have a young man who got caught up in Columbine and in the internet, and his community ostracized him, and he came back quietly to school and was able to build up his academic record, and because of that, instead of running away and moving away, he stayed, and he finished his education, and he's heading on to Pitt in international law. There is a young lady who sacrificed her personal life to take care of her ill parents, and even with that, she was able to gain honors and a scholarship after tonight in order to pursue her possibilities, even though she sacrificed her youth taking care of her ill parents. There's one last person that I would like to mention to you, and there are so many more. But I wanted to mention to you about a cancer survivor. This young man, because of himself, and also a credit to his mother. But the reason I mention it last is that he will tell you that he was able to survive because his class rallied around him and sent him cards and called and were there for him when he needed the most. And that is the nature, that is why this class will live their dream, because they are there as they were for that young man. They were there for our teams. They were there for our sports. They were there after September 11 for this community. They are there because they have character. They have the ability to be able to overcome adversity, and that is what makes them such a special class. And because of that, I am truly honored to now name them and call them graduates of the West Allegheny School District. As a result, by the authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the West Allegheny Board of School Directors, having completed all requirements of the Commonwealth and the West Allegheny School District, I hereby declare the members of the class of 2002 here assembled, graduated, and entitled to receive a diploma and all the rights therein. Thank you. May I suggest one thing, please? We ask that the audience refrain from applause until all the members of the class have received their diplomas in order for all the family members to hear the calling of their graduate's name. And now, as superintendent of school, it's my privilege to recommend Mr. Moran with the presentation of the class of 2002. Thank you.
Sunshine Danielle Faut with honors. Jessica Lynn Gorski with highest honors, valedictorian. James Vincent Dragna III. Melissa Ray Amick with high honors. Frank Pachersky with high honors. Lindsay Bonner with high honors. Gretchen Beal with honors. Ryan Beatrice with honors. Michael Betzler. Kristen Renee Bosted with high honors. Matthew David Brown. Jamie Lee Broda with high honors. Paul Brightus with high honors. Lauren Mary Busey with honors. Marcus E. Bush with highest honors. Jonathan Bouzet. Emily Danielle Carr with high honors. Anthony Alexis Carrington, Jr. Michael Vincent Curdy with honors. Michael Paul Miller, highest honors, valedictorian. Giuseppe Antonio Castelluccio with honors. Jasmine Aisha Cesar. Sarah Melissa Charmer with honors. Charisse Renee Clark with honors. Michael Robert Clark with high honors. Robert L. Cook with honors. Jonathan Michael Cordell with honors. Michael William Craig. Megan Joanna Lee Colley with honors. Heather Lynn Dalby. Michael DeClavon with highest honors, valedictorian. Raymond E. Dorosky with honors. Tina Marie Devaney with honors. Thomas Daniel Disher with honors. Zachary John Dorman. Nathan Blake Edwards. Courtney LaVey Faulkner with high honors. Jennifer Marie Faulkner with honors. Bradley Adam Ferry with honors. Zachary Jean Ferry with honors. Sarah Rose Fiscus with high honors. Corey Fitzharris. Lynette Marie Fodor with high honors. Anthony Joseph Franzetta, Jr. Chris Fuse. Stephen Christopher Gabrielle with honors. Robert Vincent Gambone, Jr., with honors. Jamie Jeremita, with honors. Brian Alexander Gerlach, with honors. Stephen Michael Gertz, with honors. Joseph Bradford Getze, with honors. Jessica M. Hack. Paul Michael Haggerty. Patrick Michael Hanovan. LaShawna Diane Hart, with honors. Amanda Lee Hartwig, with honors. David Warren Hawkins. Kimberly Nicole Herrick. Stacy Latoya Hayward. Anthony Michael Hickman, with honors. Joe Hines. Matthew James Hetzline, with high honors. Brandy Lynn Hopkins, with honors. Ryan James Hoskins, with high honors. Aaron Ricochet. Edward R. Hall. William Anthony Eisenberg, with honors. Whitney Lee Jackson, with honors. Derek Lewis Javerone, highest honors, valedictorian, perfect attendance. Benjamin Scott Johns, with honors. Mindy Monique Johns, with honors. Tracy Jean Josie, with highest honors. Jonathan Michael Kabai. Amanda Lynn Capaldo. Sean Edward Kelly, with high honors. Rachel Marie Kennedy. Stephanie Ann Kingsley. Ashley Faye Klinkner. Matthew Collins Cap. Matthew Collins Knapp. Jason Keith Nisley, with high honors. Benjamin Charles Kovach. Adam Michael Croft, with honors, perfect attendance. Daniel Paul Kurzel. Cassandra L. Lape. John J. Leininger III. Matthew John Little. Amy Beth Litterini. Brandon M. Lockwich. Andy Longstreth. Kristen Marie Lauren with high honors. Brandy Lucarini with honors. Justin Luketic. Lauren E. Madalinsky with high honors. Joshua Makar. Sarah Maley. Stephen Joseph Malinowski. Bethany Markle. Megan Marie Marsh with high honors. Kelly Marie Marshall. Brendan Allen Martin with high honors. Meredith Elise Matson. Jacqueline Nicole Matz with high honors. Abby Lynn Mazar with highest honors. Jessica Marie Mazet with high honors. Michael John McCaffrey. Megan Marie McConnell with high honors. Melissa Sue McGilton. Thomas J. Meaner. Kelly Lee Meiser. Heather Ann Mention with highest honors. Robert Ludwig Merhot II. Brandon Ray Mickle with honors. Anthony Mealy with honors. David Carl Miles Jr. Daniel Craig Miller. Jessica Lynn Miller. Robert William Miller with honors. Sarah Ann Mall. Ashley Elizabeth Moore with honors. Jeffrey James Moore with honors. Richard M. Moslin with honors. Danielle Ann Mulcairn with high honors. Melissa M. Mulvihill with honors. Deanna Sue Nichols. Adam Michael Nida with honors. Kevin Joseph Nida. Ashley Aaron Knoll with high honors. Melanie Norris. Suzanne Orovitz with high honors. Tyler Robert Pelko with honors. Brendan Michael Parnell. Sarah Elizabeth Parrish with high honors. Thomas J. Pierce. Lucia Marie Pellick. Kristen Lee Pagano with highest honors. Jason James Pompa. Nicole Lee Powell. Shannon Nicole Powell. Bradley David Prevade. Doug Price. Stephen David Prue. Allison Marie Pushkar. Christopher M. Quarles. Mike Randall III. Anna Marie Reynolds. Timothy P. Ryder with honors. Brian Michael Roberts with honors. Manuel Louis Rojas Jr. Michelle Lynn Rosenstiel with honors. Kristen Marie Rotherman with honors. Alan Jeffrey Roberto. Jill Michelle Roberto with honors. Melanie Rita Sarasheen with high honors. Jade Aaliyah Tess Saunders. Sire, Jade Aaliyah Tess Sires. Emma Rachel Saunders Kane with high honors. Lauren Ann Shade with high honors. Jason Rodney Schultz. Benjamin W. Scott with high honors. Jeremy Seibel. Katrina Schaefer with high honors. Jordan David Severa. Sean Simmons. Joe L. Slappy III. Kevin Daniel Snatchko with high honors. Jennifer Rita Snyder with honors. Ashley Mae Steffen with honors. Nicole Lynn Stokely. Sean Michael Strawler with honors. Jennifer L. Stumper. Corey W. Stunson with honors. Nicholas Timothy Tarbuck with honors. Kurt David Thompson. Amy Diane Tisdale with honors. Frank Louis Torbert III with honors. Erica Katie Troutman with honors. Russell David Trimber. Andrea Marie Tresilla with honors. Heather Laurel Yule with high honors. Lindsay Jean Valent. Tara Lynn Valenti with highest honors. Sarah Ellen Galuli with high honors. Ryan Coleman. Ryan Stephen Vans Arsdale. Jessica Ann Vance with honors. Wesley Vosberg with high honors. Marcus Wagner with honors. Aaron Lee Walk with high honors. Darren Walsh with honors. Joshua E. Wazalowski. David T. Wellard with honors. Edward E. Wernick III with honors. Shayla Lynn Williams. Adrian Lee Wilson with honors. Adam Samuel Wicks with honors. Tracy Danielle Wright with honors. Amanda Michelle Yothers with highest honors, valedictorian. David Ignatius Samuel with high honors. Alex Zeeler with high honors. Terry Marie Zook with honors. Kara Jill Zukowski with high honors. Kelly Renee Freshwater. Dawn Prevate. Congratulations to the super class of 2002.